Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, we have a very special battle report for you today. It's going to be my son, IDICBeer Jr. and myself, IDICBeer, versus Harry and Callum from Tabletop Banter, which I'm going to be referring to them in today's video as the Banter Boys.
Oh, yes.
So welcome to my place.
Thank you.
And we are obviously going to have a game. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. My son and I am playing Eldar and Space Marines. Yeah. And you're going to be using what? Is it Ultramarines?
Yeah.
Ultramarines. And the Tabletop Banter Boys?
I'm playing Crimson Fist, Space Marines. So.
Yeah, and I'll be bringing a combination of Imperial Guard and Dark Eldar.
Right, there you go.
Dark Angels.
Okay, so we're going to organise the game, get set up, and we'll be back with some more. Okay, so here we are. We are playing Crusade with 5 objectives, and as you can see we've got Hammer and Anvil deployment. So I'm just going to run over the army lists, starting off on our side of the table and with the Eldar. So with the Eldar we have a Farseer there. We rolled on the divination table, tried to get Misfortune. Sadly I didn't get that. Yeah, he's joined, or she's joined, with 3 jet bikes just there, and I have another 3 squad of jet bikes, another 3 squad of jet bikes, and another 3 squad of jet bikes, and they of course all have scatter lasers. We then have the Batleth Wraith Knight just heading up the table there, stomping on that wrecked skimmer, and he's got his Batleth D sword and the Shimmer Shield. No guns on him tonight. We then have, hiding right at the back here, 6 Sweeping Hawks with an Exart. They have deployed because there's some shenanigans going on with manipulating our reserve roles, which I'm sure the Banter Boys will tell you about in a second. I also have in reserve a Crimson Hunter Exart. Okay, so that's me. We're going to go on to the Space Marines now. We've got a Rhino there with 10 tacticals, power sword and a melter gun, duplicated exactly the same just there. Over here we've got some bikes, and you've got what, 1 melter gun,
1 melter and 1 power.
1 melter, 1 power weapon, and in reserve we have a drop pod with 3 Centurions, grav amps, and the Omniscope, and also Tigerius, and that is our 2,000 point army. In terms of objectives, we've got 1 objective just right there in the ruined building. We have another objective just there by the Wraith Knight, and we have 1 in the middle just on the other side of that tomb. The other 2 objectives are on this side of the table, so again we've got 1 just in that ruin and 1 over there just in the deployment at the Banter Boys. So now I'm going to let them guys take over and tell you what they've got in their army.
Would you like to go first?
I will. I'm playing Crimson Fist. All I've got deployed is Land Ready Crusader with the multi-melter. And that's Pedro Cantor in there with 5 Honor Guards. The company champion's got a Relic Blade, and then there's 1 guy with Power Axe as well. And then you just got a Rhino with 5 Tactical Marines and a Plasma Gun. Then in reserve we've got a Storm Talon gunship with Typhoon Missile Launcher, a Drop Pod with 5 guys in it, 5 non-tactical Marines with a Grav Gun, and that's it.
Cool, yeah. So for my deployment, I have a platoon of an infantry platoon of guardsmen, 20-man blob with 2 Vox casters, but no other upgrades. They have a Commissar and a Dark Angels Librarian attached to them. He rolled on Divination, so he could have Prescience, for obvious reasons. Then I have the Platoon Command Squad here, which has 3 grenade launchers and a Voxcaster. Just here by the Land Raider, we have the Company Command Squad. In the Company Command Squad is this guy here, which is the Master of Ordnance and Officer of the Fleet.
He's the shenanigans.
Yeah, he's the guy who does the reroll. So if I pass a leadership test in my turn, I can -1 from my opponent's reserve roll. And I already have that as the Warlord trait, so whilst my Warlord is alive, we have that too. I've also deployed my 5 Tacticals. In reserve, I have a 10-man Melter Veteran Squad, so in their Chimera, with all the Melter Gun upgrades and stuff, and a Nephilim Jet Fighter for my Dark Angels. Oh, and 3 outflanking Company Command Squad for the Dark Angels as well.
Excellent. Right, there you go. So it's an interesting game. It's going to be very exciting, I think. We are currently going first, the Eldar and the Space Marines. Let's find out if any CZ initiative rolls are going to be done.
Don't think so. Don't think so, no.
No? Okay. So it's going to be our turn first then. Turn 1 coming up. Okay, so that was the Eldar Ultramarine turn 1. So obviously the massive blob is hiding all the way at the end of the table there behind the defence line. There wasn't too much that we could do. I decided to move and run the big guy as far forward as I could, just to give them a little bit of threat. The drop pod came in just there, did scatter 6 inches to the left. Centurions got out to the right hand side of that tomb building. The bikes moved and turbo boosted down the flank. And then we had just some moving around with my jet bikes here. In the psychic phase, I managed to get no psychic powers up out of the ones that I've got. Everything was denied. However, Tigerius there, he managed to get what's it called? Hallucination up, just reducing some of the stats on that guard blob. I had 1 squad of jet bikes in shooting range, so I shot the guard there, managed to get a couple, and then the Centurions shot them in as well, killed a couple more. I think we killed about 4 or 5. Yeah, 5 altogether. So holding pretty solid behind the defence line. In the assault phase, I did a turbo boost move on one of the jet bike squads all the way over into the corner of that tomb. And then this squad here just used their jumper move just there in the central position. That was pretty much it, so no first blood or anything. The Banter Boys holding fast behind their defence line as we move in to the Banter Boys turn 1. Okay, so turn 1 for the Banter Boys. Starting off here with the drop pod, some couple of grab weapons, and that's just a small tactical squad in there, yeah?
5-man tac squad.
5-man tacticals. Tried to get first blood with my bikes here, and as you can see, they're all there. I did jink, saved really, really well. Pretty impressed with that, because I have to be honest, I thought that was going to be first blood done and dusted, but we survived that, which was pretty useful. We had an orbital bombardment come over on the Farseer and tank here, just scattered into no man's land, so no damage there. The blob of guardsmen just at the back there issued an order for first rank, second rank, was it?
That's right, yeah.
Yep. Shot the Centurions, and the first volley took out 1 Centurion. Second volley, which was some little blast, didn't manage to kill anything. The Land Raider even, moved over the barricade there, wasn't immobilised, just coming into range of my Wraith Knight, I think basically just trying to block my path, as the other guys also moved up just there. The Wraith Knight did take they tried to take a wound with the multi-melter thing on the Land Raider, but failed, and the other shots, which were just snap firing into my bikes, didn't do any damage. And that was turn 1. So first blood still up for grabs as we move in to Eldar and Space Marine turn 2. Okay, so turn 2 for the Eldar / Space Marines. So first of all, we rolled for the reserves. I did actually roll a 5 for my Crimson Hunter, so that came successfully on that side of the board there. And my Swooping Hawks came down just there by that building, have the Exarts, so I didn't scatter. Put the blast template onto the guard blob, really nicely bunched together, scattered, hit one guy who didn't die. So that wasn't too successful. The jet bikes just twiddled around, got in range. I was trying to get first blood. Got a couple of squad of bikes hitting that rhino just over there, and I did manage to wreck that for first blood. The guys got out and they're now pinned. The hunter shot the Land Raider along with the Centurions. We, in a combined effort, got him down to, I think it was 2 whole points.
Yeah,
2 whole points. And the Wraith Knight, of course, piled in and finished that Land Raider off. The guys got out there just by that piece of terrain. They weren't pinned, so they're just hanging out there. Over this side of the table, the bikes retreated backwards along with the bikes that were just there, could only snapshot. We tried to shoot these 5 tacticals here sitting on the objective, but we did no damage whatsoever. And then in the assault phase, the bikes just basically rejiggled around, still an ordnance blast template hanging around, so just made sure that we spread out a bit. Okay, so that is it for our turn 2. Going to move in now to turn 2 and reserves for the tabletop Banter Boys.
Do you want us to roll for reserves now?
Yeah, go for it, yeah.
You've got yours, Bumblebee. Do you want to roll for that? So the Storm Talon?
On 2. Is it?
Okay, and the Jet Fighter on a 2 is not in. That's slightly annoying. The bikes that are outflanking are in, and the Chimera full of melters is also in.
Okay, so everything coming in apart from 1 flyer. Turn 2 coming up. Okay, so turn 2 for the Banter Boys. The reserves came on. First of all, the Raven Wing Command Squad just flanked there, shot my jet bikes, lost 2 jet bikes. Luckily, I did manage to roll my leadership, so I didn't run away. Over there, we've got the flyer. What's that called? Storm Talon?
The Storm Talon.
Storm Talon came on, shot my Crimson Hunter. I did jink. I'm down to 1 whole point. I've lost the pulsar gun. So yeah, luckily just managed to survive that. These guys that got out of the Land Raider before, they came up here trying to assault my jet bikes. As you can see, they failed their assault range by 1. However, I did lose again a couple of jet bikes here from something. Can't remember what that was. What did you shoot me with?
The bolter guys.
Oh right. Oh yeah. So these guys in the drop pod here shot a couple of jet bikes out. But luckily, once again, I rolled my leadership, so again I didn't run. Down at the end there, all those guardsmen issued loads of orders, started shooting my Wraith Knight, along with the Chimera with their, Melter veterans in. They moved up 12 inches. They were snap firing, however they did manage to get a wound off of my Wraith Knight. And that was it. So these guys here, probably the big story, failed their charge. I think they were hoping to get away from the Wraith Knight. So it's going to be our turn 3 coming up. Okay, so turn 3 for the IDICBeers. Right, our target priority was the 3 Raven Wing jet bikes that were just there. So we piled these guys out. We moved the bikes in range. Also turned my scatter lasers on them. As it was, these scatter lasers from there, who did ignore cover, stopping their jink shenanigans, managed to take them all out. So these guys and the bikes shot into those dudes, killed a couple of those. They didn't fail any leaderships. I turbo boosted that squad of jet bikes there with the Farseer, and that guy there that shot the bikes, he just moved in the assault phase behind that building. Those guys just shuffled around in the middle. The Centurions there shot the Storm Talon but did nothing. Those jet bikes popped out after the Swooping Hawks skyleapt into the air, and those jet bikes managed to wreck the Chimera with all the melters in. The Crimson Hunter shot at the Storm Talon, that's the one, but did no damage. I was only jinking anyway. And then we went into the Wraith Knight. He charged the squad of guys there, managed to kill all of them apart from 2, chased them down, so we were just locked in combat. They became fearless, and the Wraith Knight took no wounds. And that was it. So we're going to move in now to turn 3 for the Banter Boys. Okay, here we go then, turn 3 for the Banter Boys. These guys here in the drop pod, just 2 left. They shot at the bikes, did no damage. However, you can see the bikes have depleted in numbers. That was mainly from the Storm, what's it called?
Nephilim Jet Fighter.
The Nephilim Jet Fighter, who, to be fair, got all of its shot. Here's once use only missiles at the bikes. The bikes did jink. And IDICBeer Jr. rolled 5 6s.
Yeah.
So he saved everything. However, he did lose another bike from the rest of the shooting. Didn't fail his leadership checks. In the middle, the Storm Talon moved up to the middle of the board and also shot the bikes, killed another bike as well. So just 3 bikes left there and they've jinked. Over this side of the table, the Wraith Knight killed the last couple of guys there, and then he consolidated 3 inches. In the meantime, everything at the back here, the blobs, started moving forward. So the Malta blob there that got out of the wrecked Chimera just moved up forward. So did the massive blob there. These guys shot my jet bikes, but I managed to save them. And then over here, the other thing that happened was these guys here snapshot at my flyer. I was only on 1 hull point, decided to risk it and not jink. And then, yeah, 1 lucky 6 was rolled and lost the last hull point. So that was it pretty much. So we're going to move on now to our turn 4.
Yeah.
Okay, so our turn 4. Started off bringing the Swooping Hawks in. They just moved behind that building there and then just spread out in the shooting phase. The Farseer just hanging out the back there. I moved 1 jet bike, the single jet bike which is now there, just out. I managed to cast the Prescience and I took the last 2 guys out. Still a drop pod there with the objective, and that is an objective secure pod. These guys here moved up, tried to mount to the pod, didn't do anything. The bikes that were there are currently just snapshotting, so they attempted to shoot something, can't remember what it was.
The Storm Talon?
Yeah, the Storm Talon with the Malta missed. I shot the scatter lasers into the Storm Talon. It did jink, but did no damage. Also shot those scatter laser bikes into the Storm Talon and did nothing. However, over the other side of the table, the Wraith Knight did slightly better. Managed to take the Malta squad guys that got out of the Chimera in the assault. 4 guys left there just running away. Basically what happened, we killed the front line, only got into base contact with 1, and then I killed a big bunch of guys so they couldn't actually continue the assault, so they just ran there right on the edge of the table, and I just consolidated 6 inches just standing heroically on top of the Chimera. Okay, that was pretty much it. We are now going to move into the tabletop banter turn 4. Okay, so turn 4 there for the Banter Boys. This flyer thing here moved up 18 inches to the central position, trying to target the Rhino. Managed to get it down to 1 hull point, along with some quite nasty orbital bombardments from some guy down there. Took out a bunch of Marines, got another hull point down on there, so this can't move or shoot next time. And there's 5 Marines left. The Storm Talon was only snapshotting, also shot at the Marines. I think he killed 1 guy. And then over this side of the table here, I got assaulted by the massive guard blob. How many is in there? 20, was it?
Well, yeah, it was down to like 14.
Right, okay, so yeah, assaulted me in. I took a bunch of guys. I got 2 stomp attacks in, plus killed a few in my normal attacks. There's the Librarian and 3 dudes left, just locked in combat. Did get shot, a couple of sort of snapshot type things coming in at my Wraith Knight, but no damage. Okay, that's it. So we're coming up now to turn 5, potentially the last turn for the Eldar and Space Marines. Right, so turn 5 for us. Okay, so we started off working on this objective secure drop pod. Just jumped the swooping hawks over. We moved the bikes just surrounding the objective there. Managed to take the pod out, wreck it in the assault. So that currently is our objective. Over here, the bike shot into the Storm Talon, managed to make it jink, and then moved in the assault face onto the objective. Meanwhile, the Space Marines got into that one hull point left Rhino just on that objective. In the middle there, the guys got out of that tank, moved towards that middle objective just there, as the Centurions made good work of those guys there. They have gone to ground, although he does have an order to get them back up. Just one guy left. Did consider trying to go over to the objective, but I've decided to just let them have that objective, so I just hid my bikes there for maybe later in the game if the game should happen to go on. Over here, these guys here shot into there. It's down to one hull point, did manage to get one hull point off, and then the big guy just made quite light work of the few remaining men, including the librarian, consolidated 4 inches. So that was our turn 5, and like I said, potentially the last turn as we move in to the tabletop banter, turn 5. Okay, so turn 5 there of the tabletop banter boys, doing their best to try and retrieve this game. So the Storm Talon there landed, turned his guns around on our guys there, along with this other flyer. Managed to wreck the Rhino. The guys got out, shot the guys, even though it was snap firing, got a good number of stuff through, including some rending, so killed some guys, and then we ran, but we only ran 2 inches. However, the jet bike, which obviously is objective secure as well, is still holding that objective. We had some shots in on those guys just on that objective there, killed one, but not enough to take them off the objective. The guy that was over there, he managed to stand back up, and he's within 3 inches of that objective. The Wraith Knight, nothing really happened there. So, as it stands, they have this objective here and this one.
That's right.
We have this one here, and this one for 9 points, and we also have First Blood. And we have rolled off camera. The game has ended, so that is the game. It's a Space Marines and Eldar victory. So thank you very much, guys, for coming down.
Thank you for having us.
It's a fantastic game, and do the obligatory handshake.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Right, there you go. So thanks very much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.